2 days ago, Phoenix Rising head coach Danny Stone parted ways with the club. I'm joined now by Rising Club president Bobby Dulle. Bobby, thank you for taking the time to talk today.
Thanks for having me on.
We'll start with the most pressing question on most fans' mind at this point. Why did the club decide that it had to move on without Danny Stone at the helm?
Yeah, we built this team together in the off season, and we wanted to this year to be a continuation of the project from last year, and we discussed in the off season how the game model needed to evolve. I mean, with Juan at the time when he was still the head coach, and then obviously in conjunction with Danny about chance creation. We needed to do a better job of that this year. We needed to get more vertical at times. We were a little pragmatic at times last year. And then ultimately, defensively, our shape with higher pressure, a bit more intensity as well. Just some different intentions at times to get forward. Obviously, as you fast forward to where we're at today, and we certainly get results can be flaky, right? We know that, but based on a number of factors, daily conversations with everyone in and around the team every day, players, staff, the metrics and data. You look at that, and ultimately the overall performances, the body of work, and we felt we were actually going backwards. So we felt we lacked an identity, clear direction for the players on what to do on the field, and coupled with the energy and intensity levels that look like they've been dropping, we felt it was the right time to make a decision, and we still have an opportunity left this year to turn it around and get back to what we would hoped we were getting into in the off season.
So where did that discussion originate then? Is that something that came from yourself, from Brandon McCarthy as a sporting director? Did it come from board level or somewhere else?
It's collective. I mean, what we've done over the last 8 years. There's no one individual making decisions. It's a collective. We have an ownership group that's obviously very passionate and very involved and very supportive of Brandon as far as it goes from a sporting directors in and around the team on a daily basis and involved at all levels. Obviously, conversations with that group. And updates. And so it was a collective group. Myself, ownership, Brandon as a sporting director as well. And we felt for the reasons that I outlined is the time was right to make that decision.
So among management and ownership, was the view unanimous that now was the time to move on?
Yes.
Okay. Well, the fan reaction on social media, of course, has been pretty near unanimous as well. It's not been in favor of this decision. Did that surprise you?
No, I think I've shared with you before. The day our fans stop caring is the day I really want to be concerned. And of course, Danny is an unbelievable professional. He's done a lot for our organization. It was a tough moment for me personally, and obviously for the organization as well. He's someone that we care deeply about. We don't have the success we've had as an organization if Danny Stone was not a part of it. And in culminating last year in the championship, he played a very big role in it. And so I get it. I get the frustration. I think you see the results on the field and the team not being where our fans want them to be, where we want them to be in the standings, and of course the personal connection to Danny, someone that has been on the sideline for the last 3 years, good moments, bad moments. So it's always tough. I mean, again, this is not something that we enjoyed doing, or of course there was not excitement for it. And Danny's been part of our youth club. He's been involved, very very directly involved in the recruiting of players. Again, the decisions that we make on the players that we bring in, the tactics, it's done as a collective group around the table, and it has been for years. And Danny's been a loud voice and a big supporter of everything we're doing, and unfortunately it just wasn't working out.
So as you move forward now, what's the process going to look like in terms of hiring a new head coach?
Yeah, we're first and foremost, Diego's been named the interim. We're excited for Diego. He's got a unique background. He grew up as a youth as a goalkeeper. in the academies at Real Madrid, at Barca. He was the coach of the year last year at the NISA level, so he's been a head coach and had success last year. And so for us, we know he has a very clear vision. I mean, part of the reason that he was brought on board in January is because of the ideas and the way he sees the game, and the principles that he has on the field. So we're excited to see how he implements them here. And meanwhile, we're going to continue, as you can imagine, we've been inundated with names. We're going to conduct interviews with potential candidates, while Diego also has an opportunity here to prove himself. So we're kind of taking a dual path approach at the moment, and we'll conduct interviews, but we're not in a hurry necessarily to bring in a new head coach. We have confidence in Diego. We have confidence in the staff around them. We have confidence in the players as well. And that's the approach we're taking right now.
Obviously, Diego, having been here now for a fair few months as an assistant coach, is a familiar face to the players. But it also means that many of them are going to have already made their mind up over him and what they think about him. In the current climate, do you think it's possible for him to have success here at the club?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, an assistant coach's role versus a head coach role is different, right? And so he supporting Danny, and he's been fantastic in that role. And so now it's his voice. He's the main voice. He's going to be making decisions on who plays, tactical decisions. Again, the coaching staff, forever, that since I've been here at Rising, has always worked together during the week. Obviously, when it comes down to making personnel decisions, or some of the tactical decisions, substitution patterns, there's feedback from the group, but the head coach ultimately has to make that decision. So this will be an opportunity. It's a new day. Today was the first day back for the group, and I know he's delivering his message, how he wants to implement some things, and it's not going to happen overnight. But I think the players will definitely see a different version of Diego, and Diego. Well, obviously he's sad to lose a friend in Danny. He's also really excited for this opportunity, and I think he'll look at things through a different lens, and the players will have to look at him through a different lens as well. And it's everyone's going to have to react and respond, and the quicker that they can do that, I think the quicker that you'll hopefully see some things turn around.
You mentioned obviously there being feedback from certain elements of the group in terms of personnel, in terms of tactics. Where do you guys draw the line on that in terms of getting a balance between feedback and perhaps exerting pressure?
Yeah, I mean, that's the as far as on the field. Is that what you're referring to?
Yes, yes.
Yeah, I mean, ultimately it's the head coach. They have to make the decisions, and I think information is powerful. So understanding, looking at data, that's important. It's an important component of it. Looking at health and fitness is an important component of it. And we have people in whether it be data analysts, whether it be scouts, whether it be fitness, medical staff, coaches, video analysts. We have all of those at Rising right now, and so I think they're all here for different reasons. They all see things differently, and not one area dictates is the end all be all, but it's all that information collectively that the head coach is utilizing to come up with a plan, and come up with a strategy and an approach to each and every match.
Well, obviously, a new head coach coming in is going to face some of the same challenges that Danny did. In particular, there've obviously been questions around this club's attack. And on Friday, Brandon, Rising Sporting Director, said that part of the reason for not fully replacing some of those goals lost over the off-season was that you were giving internal players a chance to emerge, and the difficulty of finding top attacking players for our level. Was that an approach that Danny agreed with when he came on board as head coach?
Yeah, absolutely. Again, the roster was built collectively, and not one individual making those decisions and saying, I want this. In order to bring players in, or to retain players, there's a lot of conversations. And so you look at some of the guys when you talk about replacing, right? You're replacing, a Danny Trejo or, a Carlos Harvey. And when there's not a lot of guys. I mean, there's a reason that they've moved on to Europe and MLS, and both of them are doing really well at those levels. So it is difficult, but those guys themselves also came here last year for the first time, and I think you saw them develop and grow. So we were hopeful, and we still do feel really good about the group of guys that we have here, and yes, we wanted to see some growth from the guys that had been here. I mean, obviously there was over half the guys returned from last year, guys that knew the system, guys that have proven themselves at this level, guys that obviously ultimately brought us a championship. So as we sat down and looked at what we needed to bring in the off season, we wanted guys that could collectively make us stronger. We went out and we purchased Giulio from Juventus. I think that was it showed our intention and some of the qualities that Giulio has. We brought in some wingbacks, some Rito. He was an all-league wingback, right? Remy, yes, we got him on loan from Colorado Rapids. He was a Golden Boot winner last year at the MLS Next Pro level. He's played at the USL Championship level. JP, one of the best players consistently year over year at the League One level. And then you add pieces like Lawrence White, who's been a proven player and someone who I think has tremendous ceiling, in Pop Marboy, and to the group to strengthen the group. So collectively, yes, we felt really good going into the season. And again, these guys all have quality, and I think they've shown moments and flashes. But consistently across 90 minutes, consistently from game to game, it hasn't been the case. And perhaps a new voice, some different ideas, some different concepts will help. And perhaps we'll see a change. And that's what we're hoping for, and the reason we made the change.
So you say this is a collective decision. Does that mean then that since Danny became head coach, he hadn't come to you with, one or more names of potential signings that he was asking club management to add early or prior to the season?
No, we've constantly looked to add pieces. I mean, we have been all off season. We have been all during the season. We continue to look to add pieces that we think could come here and raise the level. I mean, we did it last year. We brought Panos in midway through the season. We brought Formella in. We had to, move some pieces out at that point. So we're going to continue to do that. Names have been presented internally. Sometimes we go after someone and for whatever reason, it doesn't work out. It takes multiple parties sometimes to get a deal done. So yes, we've discussed names that have been brought up through scouts, have been presented to us from other organizations from around the world, names that have come up through data. Our process hasn't changed, and we present those names and we filter those names and we bring them to the coaching staff to ultimately say, yep, let's go get that player. And there's been players we've tried to go get that we didn't have success with. And there's also been players that the staff, has brought up and said, hey, let's consider this player. Can we do it? And we go through the process and we haven't brought, a new person in, but that doesn't mean that we're not going to. We're going to continue to try to do that and push the existing guys, and also try to bring guys in that may have some different characteristics that can bring something different to the table.
Well, of those notable players that moved on over the offseason, two, of course, moving on to higher levels in Carlos Harvey, Danny Trejo, but Manu Artiaga moved laterally to another USL Championship club, where he's having a lot of goal-scoring success this season. What was the rationale behind why he was allowed to leave?
Yeah, it's a good question. Love Manu, great player, a great person, first and foremost, and I'm happy for him that he's having the success that he's having. We just again, there's always things that are in play that everyone isn't aware of for multi-year deals that people are looking for. Sometimes different, want to be in a different locale for personal reasons. For Manu, it was just a decision that we made. We felt yes, we liked the qualities that he brought, but when we talked about the evolution of the team in the game model, we felt that we could, go out and get some other players that would fit that. And Manu's having success, and I know he'll continue to have success. He works his tail off. You can see that. He runs and runs and runs, and he finds a way to score goals, and he'll continue to do that wherever he's at. But no, it was just a decision that the group made that said, for some reasons that I can't share, but other reasons, we wanted to find him a spot that made a lot of sense, and we knew that Tampa was, somewhere he would be happy, and ultimately, for us, try to identify some players that had a few different characteristics that we thought would be a better fit for how we wanted to move forward.
So when you do move players out, if transfer fees are received, is that money offered up to be used as a bonus on the sporting side above what was previously budgeted, or does it go to plug up existing losses?
No, the investment is there, and to go back into the team.
Okay. Okay. Well, any new coach coming in now, obviously, they're going to have to get the locker room on side, but even away from the pitch itself, there've been grumbles from players around perceived cost cutting on things like IV treatments around games, what you're feeding players. One message I received last week, and I quote, "I won't send you photos of what this club calls food for professional footballers just to spare you." They say this is a change from last year. Who was responsible for these changes, and how are you going to get people back on side in those areas?
Well, I can assure you that we continue to provide as much or more resources than nearly, or if not every club, nearly every club in the USL for sure. Uh, we have the same group that's been providing food the last couple of years every day, before and after training. We sometimes travel with 20 players above and beyond the multiple staff members that are going on the road trip. So for us, we're going to continue to try to push the limits as it relates to resources, and create an environment that the players are excited about. So yeah, it's going to get buy-in, right? Wins cure a lot of that buy-in. People are frustrated, right? It's just been an inconsistent season thus far. But I can assure you, we're not cutting costs, anything related to how we take care of the players and the environment that we create. In fact, we're always looking to add more elements and find different ways to improve the environment for our players, for our coaches, and for our staff.
With Danny now gone, beyond just on the coaching side, are there any other changes that you're looking to implement to the club's processes?
Not at the moment. Nope. I mean, obviously, we're going to continue down this pathway. We felt like we were, as I mentioned, the process had stalled. In some cases, had been going backwards as it relates to the evolution of what you're seeing on the field. But for us, no, we're going to continue to stick to our process. We're not going to make decisions rashly. We're going to, when we're recruiting players, we're going to, continue to use all of the people that we've brought in from analysts, like I've mentioned, to calling on references, calling other players that have played with those players. So everything from that perspective is going to continue forward, and we don't have all the answers. We're going to continue to reach out to clubs and learn from them, and speak to them to see how they're implementing processes, so we can continue to improve.
Okay. Multiple sources have told PHNX that a member of the team's ownership group was, a couple of weeks ago, down in the South End, and they approached at least one fan they didn't know for their views on Danny as a head coach. Do you think that kind of attitude and those kind of actions make this job more attractive for a potential new manager?
I think that any manager that's going to come into Phoenix Rising is going to know there's going to be pressure. There's going to be expectations. I think will be managers or players or myself, anyone. We understand that there's been a standard set here, and we want to continue to raise the standard. But we're also a club that knows we got to do things the right way, and I think that's why you see us always eliciting feedback, whether it be fan surveys that we consistently send out, whether it's conversations that we're having. But we know how important this club is to our fan base, and we know how passionate they are, and people make a lot of sacrifices and their hard-earned money to come out and support us, and we really appreciate that. And that's why it's important for us to to continue to put a product on the field and be a club that people are proud to stand behind.
Finally, Bobby, 2 years ago, fans called for your head alongside then head coach Rick Chance's. In a later fans forum, you spoke of learning lessons from mistakes to move forward. This is now the second head coach to lose their job for performance under your watch. It comes as you've been clearly taking more of an interest day to day in the sporting side of your role, as once again a vocal segment of the fan base is blaming you for the position of the club and calling for you to go. How many more chances can you ask the fans to give you?
Again, I understand there's pressure that goes along with this. There was a lot of people that really doubted us bringing Juan in when we brought Juan in, and I think collectively, I would hope the body of work that we've shown as an organization, the commitment that we've shown as leadership to this organization, to this fan base. We've been to the three finals in 7 years. We've consistently been one of the high performing teams both on and off the field as it relates to both business metrics and of course on the field. I'm very proud of the amount of individuals that have come to this organization and have been here, whether that be on the field or as support staff, whether that be equipment managers, whether that be assistant coaches, whether that be head coaches, whether that be players that have come to Phoenix Rising and have moved on to higher levels. I think that's something that I'm most proud about, is an environment where people can grow, where they can be challenged. It's also an environment where a lot of people continue to reach out and they want to be a part of this organization. So I think is, from my perspective, I get it. I actually appreciate it. I embrace the challenge that comes with my role at the organization. And I'm very proud of what we've accomplished. And it's been some really good people. I've been fortunate to have a lot of really good people around me in order for us to have success. And I'm going to keep working hard. I'm as passionate as anyone about this organization. I give up everything. My family's bought in, and we're going to continue to be behind this club 100%. And for as long as I'm here, I'm going to give everything I can and continue to try to make this organization better, set a gold standard, and hopefully win some more trophies along the way, but ultimately have an environment and a culture of growth and an environment where people enjoy coming to work and want to get better each and every day.
Okay, Bobby, thank you for your time.
Thank you.